Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the General Hospital recap for January 12th through 16th, 2026. We have a few Port Charles pipelines. Do you want to get started with cast news or email?
Do cast news first.
Okay. So first, did you know that John Lindstrom joined the cast of Beyond the Gates?
I did see that. Like officially, yeah, his picture's up.
Yep. On the opening credits, January 6th. But he is one of those characters that does this all the time. He's always gone for long periods of time and he comes back. So if you are newer to the show, Kevin just goes away.
Right. And that's why I didn't say anything whenever I saw it, because we know that multiple actors and actresses have been on two shows at once and left for, you know, like you'd see them on Monday on our show and Tuesday on a different show. And they have,
you know. Wally, he's on days. Is he on days? Wally Kurth? He's on days also, right?
I don't know if he still is, but yeah, he was at one point. And so it doesn't really
Tristan
mean
Rogers
anything.
Was too.
Yeah, it
Tristan
doesn't really
was on
mean
Young
anything.
and the Restless.
Right. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to have Kevin anymore. I think this probably had more to do with his personal life than just like being on another show. I don't think he chose this over us. Okay, guys.
No, I don't either. And like I said, this happens. Kevin leaves. Kevin comes back. We could do an entire episode about all the random times that Kevin has left.
Right.
He is such a good supporting character, though, because I wish that we got him more, and I feel like they could do more with him, but he leaves.
Maybe he just feels like, yeah, maybe he feels like he had the really great storyline with all the Ryan stuff. I mean, he got to play two characters at once. Maybe he just wanted to back down and not be the center of attention as much. So that works. I don't know what his character is on Beyond the Gates. I don't know if it's a main character or if it's
well, so I guess that's the thing, is that he finally was on opening credits. And so according to Soap Opera Digest, John Lindstrom calls General Hospital Return as Kevin a great reunion and explains his long absence. And this was in December of 2025. And it just talks about how challenging it's been, and that you know, with Laura going through all the stuff that she has. Actually, our whole article kind of just does give like a nice little jump on. Here, let's give a quick breakdown of when Kevin left. Back in 1992, he joined as Ryan Chamberlain, pediatrician by day, serial killer by night. And we did an entire series about Ryan Chamberlain, guys.
Yeah.
But then in 1993 is when we got Kevin. But then he was on until Ryan died in 95, quote, died. And then he was on the show as Kevin until 97. And then he went on to Port Charles. But then when that went off air in 2003, he went over to As the World Turns. And then he came back to GH in 2013, where he remained as a recurring status, seeing Kevin through life changes like his marriage to Laura and death of his, for real this time, of his twin. And then last year, longtime friend Michelle Valjean, who had formerly written for GH and had been instrumental in the development of Kevin, presented him with an offer he couldn't refuse, playing a bad guy, Joey Armstrong, on the new soap opera she was launching for CBS, Beyond the Gates. And so he said that it was kind of a no-brainer, given that Kevin's storyline life was fairly light, meaning that so too was Lindstrom's work schedule. In all fairness to me, it had whittled down to about 1 or 2 shows a month. It was back in 2024 that he first broke the news that he was hired to Frank Valentini. He was hoping to do both shows at the same time. Come on. But then just like the quick Gemini overview says, Lindstrom didn't completely leave General Hospital, but stepped back due to scheduling conflicts with his role as Joey Armstrong. He didn't really even step back. He was just like, hey, I'm not going to be available for twice a month anymore.
Right.
And the filming location is in Atlanta. So juggling both was difficult. He returned to GH in late 2025 by working out stacked filming schedules due to balance both commitments. Man, that's how he ended his year, was 2 shows.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's just not under contract. let's just remember, this happened to Valentin.
Right.
So, although I don't think James Patrick Stewart's ever been under contract.
I don't
I
know.
think he's always been recurring.
I was going to say, I trust your stalking skills for that.
Has James Patrick Stewart ever been contract with General Hospital? Nope.
Okay.
So yeah, yes, Kevin is temporarily gone.
Right. You know that we're not going to keep him and Ace away forever. So
no,
they'll be back.
Ace is going to come back as a teenager. Come on. We all know this too, right, guys? Like we know that Ace is going to come back and he's going to be, I'm assuming that they're going to be aging up Avery soon.
Oh, I'm not ready for that.
I do. We have not seen Avery in a very long time. I feel like they're going to be aging up. They're probably going to be aging up Avery, and they could probably age up Scout too, and age up Ace to match them, even though there's a huge difference between them right now where he's only like 2.
Right.
So maybe they won't age him up that much. Maybe they'll just age him up enough so he'll be like Wiley's age. And like, yeah, maybe they'll age him up just so like he can match Wiley because Wiley's alone.
Yeah.
We'll see. And then Carolyn Hennessy we saw back this week. However, we saw her in a wheelchair.
Yep.
She did not lose her leg despite all the craziness that was going on online. If you saw it, there were so many rumors that like her leg was torn off and all this stuff. Didn't she jokingly like do some kind of a raffle or something?
Yes, so you could win her leg.
Yes. So last seen in October 2025, Hennessy was felled by a broken leg that required multiple surgeries for correction. She explained at the time on Facebook that she got tangled up with my dog, Bella Lugosi. No one's fault. He just had the zoomies, and instead of stepping on him, I decided to launch myself midair and came down wrong, to say the least. Keep in mind, guys, she does trapeze.
Right.
So she probably had the gut instinct on how to fall correctly. So it just says in an interview with Soap Opera Digest, Hennessy insisted the love from the fans truly got me through this and kept my mind right. Their support meant and means everything to me. The messages on social media regarding my leg and Diane's absence from the show, honestly, I believe sped up the healing process. Per the outlet, Hennessy's injury and the use of a wheelchair will be written into the story. Why didn't we get a good story, though?
Right.
So maybe next week we'll get a good story from Diane about what happened to her.
Right, because they didn't really even ask her this week. It was just like, oh, hey, you're back.
It felt like we were going to, though, because it felt like Alexis was starting to ask and then got interrupted by everything. So, Yep. So that's really it for cast news.
Okay.
Do you have anything cast related?
No.
Okay. And now we have an email from, thank you. Okay, I really like when you guys write in how to pronounce your names. Here's what's going to happen is I'm going to still forget, and then I'm going to second guess myself. And I know that you sent it in, and I am so sorry. I am just preemptively, and I know that sounds so rude because it sounds like I'm not making an effort to. I should just save them all in a Google Doc, really, once they actually write in how to pronounce their names, especially repeat people. I'm going to do that now. Fan name pronunciation. So thank you, Tanya, because Tanya, Michaud is,
okay,
and she wrote how to pronounce her last name. Fan name pronunciation. All right. So if you guys want to do that for like the first couple times that you write in, I will now save it.
Beautiful.
Why haven't I saved that for now? I don't know. Because it really is. It's these people take the time to put it in, and I just feel rude. So anyway, hey ladies, Drew Theory. Love the podcast. I'm a regular listener, and I'm currently listening to the 112th episode, and I need you to consider my theory. Oh my gosh, girl, did you listen to our fan spotlight? No, hold it. No. Sorry. We did kind of talk about this a little bit, though. Drew and Shiloh are swapped somehow. That is why Drew is magically obsessed with Willow. Wait and see. I bet money that I'm right. LOL, because he doesn't act like Drew and he definitely acts like Shiloh, and they were Navy SEALs together. What do you think? Am I completely off base? No, we have definitely talked about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we are definitely here for it. But what did I say? What did I say in our fan spotlight with Sam? Oh, no. That is when, no. It was when, because that's what I was referencing is, wouldn't it be something if it is Shiloh because Drew is living in Shiloh's house in the Dawn of Day house? Is that last week's recap?
I don't know. I know we've said it at some point in time just because how weird it would be.
It was very, very recently. It might have been during. So either way, that's what I was referencing when I said, wouldn't it be great if it was Shiloh?
Yeah.
It was Shiloh is Drew. Be Shiloh. But no, totally not off base. And I had a roommate from your town when I went to school in Salem. So where she gave me her, well, I'm going to take out your state because you gave me your full name. I'm not going to say the state, but if anyone feels like being a creeper, they can just look that part up too. So I'm going to take out the state, but I know where you live.
That doesn't sound scary at all.
Listen, if she has been a fan of the show, she knows that I know the area
Yes.
in general. So,
Yeah.
anyway, I'm tired. So, that was it. So, on this week's 411, we haven't done it yet, but tomorrow we are going to be interviewing Rena
I'm so
Sofer.
excited. I'm so excited. I'm going to lose my mind.
I was trying to explain it to my kids, and I was like, no, guys, this is like, she is one of the actresses, that's why I started watching the show.
Yeah.
You know, we met her back in October. We've been kind of just, the holidays.
Right.
And we were finally able to connect. So we have no idea what we're talking about yet because it's not happening until tomorrow.
I'm so
But it'll be
excited.
good. So we will go to Hulu headlines. On Monday, Alexis is floored. Martin relays news to Drew. Molly confides in Christina. Michael and Jacinda grow closer. Nina is frustrated. On Tuesday, Valentin takes a risk. Britt is threatened. Ava has a shocking encounter. Drew makes a promise, and Carly is alarmed. On Wednesday, Elizabeth and Jason compare notes. Sonny wants answers. Valentin has a close call. Carly overhears useful intel. Brad issues a request. On Thursday, Jason takes Britt out. Emma and Gio take a step forward in their relationship. Brooklyn defends Chase. Jocelyn and Carly catch up, and Laura plays peacemaker. On Friday, Willow awaits news of her fate. Nina issues a warning to Drew. Alexis explains her actions. Chase encourages Dante, and Anna is stunned. I think we can just start real quick with we now have downtown Port Charles and a courthouse exterior with also like a beautiful park across from it.
Right. That was definitely like, oh, whole new angle.
New location. And I didn't see the hospital anywhere in it.
Mm-mm.
No. All right. So where do you really want to start?
I thought you were going to start with you were right and I was wrong because whenever we talked about Molly hooking up, you were like, did they hook up in the DA's office? And I was like, no, they were like, let's take this somewhere else. And sure enough, this week they're like, so you hooked up in Turner's office?
I didn't. Okay. Thank you for saying that, but I didn't. I was wondering. So I did not think that they actually did. I was kind of hoping they didn't, but no, they sure as heck did.
Yep. Christina called her out on it and was like, wait, what? And
Yep.
so then Molly explained, yep, they hooked up there and then they took it back to his place and she stayed the night and he made breakfast and then she was talking about how she just like blew it all completely because James asked if they were boyfriend girlfriend and she said no and Cody said yes.
Yeah. But then she rushed over and apologized and was like, I really just like kind of want to be your girlfriend and all this stuff. And that was sweet. And he's
It
like,
was
no
very sweet.
take backs. He's like, you already said you want to be my girlfriend. I was like, aw.
They're very cute together. I do like how they're remembering that every time that they've showed Cody talking about his past, like he didn't have connections like this, and that Molly dated TJ from the time she was like 9 until she became partners with him. So
Right.
she doesn't have those experiences.
Right. Other than Brando, who was a one night stand and a very kind one at that.
Right.
Like that was a very unique situation, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that was instantly as soon as she said that, I was like, oh man, Shannon read that right. I was reading the room differently that day.
Yeah, no. I guess I was asking, so I was like kind of right, but yeah. But the way that they were talking, that's actually kind of how I confirmed with JD that I was his girlfriend. We were out and I said something about him being my boyfriend. I looked at him, I was like, you're my boyfriend, right? He's like, well, yeah. I was like, okay. And then just went back to talking.
What would you have said if it had been like, no?
I really don't know. I really don't.
I'm assuming it was still pretty early in your relationship because I feel like if it would have been too much into it, he would have just messed with you and been like, no, what are you talking about? I don't even like you.
Oh no. So our third or fourth date was at a Pirates game. And on the way down, he was singing. Okay, fun fact about my husband, he knows every single word to Vogue. So we're stuck in traffic, going to a Pirates game, and Vogue is on. And he's just like jamming and he knows every single word. And I'm like, seriously? Like, my favorite boyfriend from high school was gay, has since come out. It had not come out when we were boyfriend and girlfriend in ninth grade. I mean,
Understandable.
and so I'm like, seriously, I'm like, this guy's gonna be gay too. And I mean that in a way that like I'm fine with like I'm not saying
Right.
that in a like there's anything wrong with that. But I really liked him. So I did not want that to be the case. And I just straight up asked him. But this was before I asked him if he was my boyfriend too. And you know me, like that's not really something that I would feel comfortable just saying, but I was just like, nope, I'm getting this one out of the way
Right.
at this.
That is important when you're dating someone to know.
Yeah. We had met online, so it's not like I really knew him beforehand. So, we laugh about it, go to the pirate game, and then you know how you used to be able to text like messages around and it would be like on the little like the LED strip thingies
Yes.
like around the center. Somebody, it was not me, said, I love you, JD. And he must have clocked it at the same time that I did because I looked at him and I went, that is not me.
That is not how I'm going to announce that I love you, period.
No.
Especially not after 3 dates.
And not after asking if you were gay in the car. So
Right.
just because you know the words to Vogue. But yeah, Cody and Molly, it reminded me so much of that. And we'll be married for 15 years this May. So it's kind of worked out. But yeah, they are so super cute. And he gives her a lot of grace but I think that he also knows what it's like to be completely misunderstood.
Right. No, they're very, very cute. So we see she left to go see Cody, and Christina was going to leave. And then that's whenever in walked Michael and Jacinda. And she was like, hey, by the way, your money is at Michael's house. I did not take it. And they sit down and have a drink and just go over everything. And, oh, before
I
that, we saw
liked
her with,
the three of them just hanging out at the Port Charles Grill. They were Port Charles Grill, right? Yeah.
yeah. Yep. I like that they're being friendly. Like we're showing them not just at a birthday party or tied up in something like work related, that they can just hang out,
Mhm.
have a glass of wine, have good conversation. And they were talking about Wiley and his video games and how he had told Jacinda that whenever she had time, he was going to beat her at the game. And that was so cute.
Yeah, she apparently knows all about it because I guess he used a phrase and Michael was like, what are you talking about? And Jacinda translated for him because
Yes.
it was something about the sticks, like she's good on the sticks or something like that. So, I mean, do the kids even call we when I hear that phrase, I'm thinking joysticks. So like I'm thinking Atari.
I think it
Do
is
they
still called, I think the like, because this is how educated I am, the like wobbly part that you would move around, I think that's still called a joystick, like on the controller.
Okay, but see, that's the thing. I feel like they're called controllers. They're game controllers now.
Yeah, they're controllers, but I think that part is still, yeah,
Is it kind of like how the floppy disk is still being used as the save icon, but so many people don't know what it is?
right,
Or
right,
when anyone says rewind and you're not really rewinding something, you're backing up.
yes.
Okay. So we'll liken it to that. But yeah, I guess she's gonna play a little video game with Wiley. And then when she said she kind of like insinuated she was gonna take it easy on him. And Michael was like, oh no, you cannot because he will be able to tell. And she's like, fine, I'm going to slaughter your son. He's like, thank you.
Yes, perfect.
That was cute.
It was very cute. And the reason that Jacinda and Michael left the Quartermaines was because Michael didn't want to be part of happy hour with Tracy and everyone.
Okay, so on the fan spotlight last week, like I shared that Tracy is probably my favorite female right now. Like, this is why, because she really is trying so hard to keep the things that we love about the Quartermaines. Like, Edward had drinking hours, and Ned was like, I can't have our alcohol. And Tracy's like, I already got something for you. And then Olivia, why was she wondering if Ned was angry?
Well, Ned was mad at first because he couldn't have a drink. It was Tracy who decided he couldn't have
Yes, yes,
the
yes.
alcohol. And he
Thank you.
was like, what's the point of living if I can't have a drink now and then? And Olivia got offended by that and was like, excuse
She's
me, the
like,
point of living is to spend time with your wife and kids.
yeah, like the point of living is living
Right.
here for us, with us.
Exactly. And then they were talking about Tracy getting the injunction on Drew to be able to get her belongings. And Olivia was kind of like, can't we just let it go? Like, who cares? It's just old crap. And Tracy flipped out and was like, no, it is not just old stuff. It is very important stuff. It's not just like candles or whatever. These are heirlooms. And
Some
that
came
was,
over on the Mayflower.
yes. And then Ned Ned said that they can't just let it go. They have to make sure they get everything back. And he got real upset by it. And then everyone was like, what aren't you telling us about Drew? Because you're way too angry all of a sudden. And that was whenever he let it slip that, yeah, Drew just left him there on the floor when he was having a heart attack and walked away.
Well, I don't think he remembered until that moment that Drew had been there.
I feel like he didn't say anything just because he didn't want to rock the boat.
Because I didn't remember and I didn't clock when Drew referenced Edward faking a heart attack
Yeah,
while Ned was having one. I don't
right.
remember him saying that.
Yeah, so I do think that Drew thought that Ned was faking and that's why he walked away. I don't know that he would be that heartless, but I think that Ned remembered it. He just hadn't said anything because he didn't want to make everyone all angry about it. And so then Martin served the papers on Drew and then Drew went over to the Quartermaines. Why? I don't know why. Like if you served me with papers for something, I wouldn't show up at your house and start yelling at you about it.
Because he's Drew and he thinks he can.
And so Yuri was like, no, you're not coming in here. I'm going to throw you out. Took his cane. That was great. I love Yuri. Um,
Yes.
and then that was whenever Tracy put it all together that it was Martin that had overheard and had gone to the courts to say that she had lied about seeing Michael at on Drew's street. And then Olivia just like lost it and came down with the shotgun and was like, get out. I'm done. I'm going to shoot you.
I love her so much.
She's standing up for her man.
And he's like, Drew says to her, you wouldn't shoot me in front of a cop. And Chase just goes, I'm suspended and you're trespassing.
Right.
And
Like,
so she asked him if he wants someone who to finish the job that was started a few months ago. And when Drew finally took oh crap, she's going to do this and left, Tracy asked if it was the holiday from Edward's case. Olivia said, yes, good eye. And Tracy said, it is hers.
yes,
I liked it.
I did too. I like how the family's coming together.
Yes.
Oh, but Tracy did mess up this week whenever she called Chase in and was like, hey, she said what
I
we were
don't
all
feel like she
thinking.
messed up. I do not think she messed up.
Well, Brooklyn was not happy. She said what we all have been saying and thinking,
Exactly why I
but
don't think she messed up.
Brooklyn was not happy because she asked Chase if Chase was cheating on Brooklyn, and he was like, what are you talking about? And she said, yeah, you're overly invested in Willow. What the heck's going on? And then Brooklyn walked in and was like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? And once Chase said, yeah, your grandma just asked if I was cheating on you, she told her to butt out.
Yeah, but also I feel like because she did talk to him about that, and she said that she thinks that Willow is using him. But I also think that she told Tracy to butt out because I don't think Brooklyn's 100% certain that he wasn't either. But also, she does not want Tracy to be the one to handle it because she knows how Tracy handles things and she loves Brooklyn.
Yes.
So I think that she was kind of saving him, but at the same time, not so much. She was also saving herself a lot of headache.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not making himself any friends right now.
No. But I did like that Dante was realizing that maybe something else was up because then he turned to Brennan at the courthouse and was like, did you guys have something to do with this missing information? Because you have the system that can override our security system. And that is the only thing that would make sense. But I don't know why you would do that. And Brennan was like, we would never do that.
Yeah. He's like, dude, I was in the WSB. Like, you would think that Brennan would know that.
No, right. I did like the way he said that. Like, don't lie to me, man. I was there for all
Right.
your tricks.
Right.
But Brennan did not admit that it was him that had done it. But Chase swore that it wasn't him who did it. And I think that Dante believes that. So,
Yeah, but he still said that he couldn't completely rule him out.
yeah. But that's going to be with internal affairs. It's not really up to Dante anyway.
Right. I hope he remembers that.
Yeah.
So then they had closing arguments. Oh. So before all that, though, let's go back to before we actually get to court because Kai and Trina told Alexis about, and that's where we kind of left off last week. And
Mm-hmm.
then they tell her, that they were at Drew's the night that he was shot. And Alexis says if they go to the police, that they're implicating themselves. So last week we talked about how them just not saying that they were there and hearing the twinkle, twinkle, little star, but also it would point the finger at them. And so she said, it's if you go to the police now, they're going to think that you also did it and that you're now just trying to make sure that Willow gets guilty verdict. And then Alexis calls Wiley's phone. She goes through the phone records, calls the phone, and Wiley answers.
Yep.
And then there was a moment because Nina went to Willow, and isn't that when she offered to help her again?
Yes, she said, you don't need to stay with Drew. I'll support you in any way I can, including financially.
And I thought for sure that Nina knew. And then I forget what it was that she said next. I went, nope, never mind.
Yeah, I thought the same thing because she said whenever Drew left, that was whenever Drew and Martin left, she was like, oh, I'm so glad to see him go. And then she was like, I'm sorry, Willow. I know I'm not supposed to talk about your husband like that. And Willow
Right.
was like, oh, no, I'm glad to see him go too. And I thought, oh, okay, either is Willow going to confess to Nina now or does Nina already know? But then they kept talking and Nina made another one of those comments like, my daughter would never. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe
Yeah,
she does.
she just doesn't know.
But
So
I felt bad.
then,
I felt bad for Alexis knowing, but I also feel like she gave them crappy advice. Diane comes up with a defense in 2 seconds for Sonny and Jason. She really couldn't have come up with something to help Trina and Kai so that they could go. And by just being quiet, no matter what, Willow can't be tried again. You can't do double jeopardy. So all you're
yep,
doing is ensuring that Willow never gets tried for her crime.
because Alexis tells Diane that Willow did shoot Drew, and Diane says that she snapped. And that's the thing is that she didn't. This was not a snapped, which I know we're really bummed about that. But then she positions it as you've already lost your license once. Whose career or future is more important, your career or Scout?
Right.
And so she made the decision for Scout, even though so that's the thing is if they know that their client's guilty, do they still have to try to, because she said something about she couldn't recuse herself, right?
She couldn't recuse herself because it was too late. It would be found as a mistrial, and that would make everyone angry.
If a defense attorney knows their client is guilty, they must still provide a vigorous defense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I could not be a defense attorney. Give me a prosecutor all day.
Right.
Oh, I would be such a good prosecutor.
But yeah, that's what she was saying was if she recused herself, then it would be like a mistrial and they'd have to go through all that stuff again. And Drew would be angry and she wasn't even sure like what the judge would say exactly at that point. But she also couldn't change her defense because Willow is entitled to a proper defense.
Right.
But I think that Kai and Trina could have gone to Turner and been like, hey, listen, this is what happened. I mean, they're young. Neither one of them have a criminal record. I find it very hard to believe that anyone would think that they shot him and just left him there or that they were trying to be malicious and not saying anything. They honestly didn't think they knew anything.
Except for it would come out that Drew was blackmailing Portia.
Right.
And that's why they didn't say anything.
Right.
And that's what they told Alexis. And Alexis is like, yep. And I already let everyone know that he was. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So they get to the courthouse and Turner's closing arguments. Great point. Why did she wait until she got to the altar to embarrass him rather than just calling off the wedding, just not going through with it?
Yeah.
But then, okay. So we just read that she still has to provide a good defense, a vigorous defense. She did not, though, have to say Willow is innocent and that she did not shoot Drew.
Right.
She did not have to say those two things in her closing argument. She could have tap dance around that entire thing.
Right.
But no, she didn't. But then she did do a slip of the tongue by saying that Willow had every opportunity when she meant to say Michael had every opportunity. But then I also think she can't do that. I don't think she can. Oh, no, because they were allowed to bring in the third party, right? Like she was allowed to start bringing in the third party defense.
I think that she's allowed to say, whatever she wants to, and it's the jury to decide what's relevant and what's not. I don't think there was anything against that, but I don't see how that's fair either. Like, like they were saying, you're building a case against Michael, and maybe they won't pursue it, but if they do, and even if they don't, everyone now is going to think that Michael's the one that shot Drew. Like,
Right.
If it happened in our town and somebody was like, well, so and so, Willow was found not guilty, then after that defense and all that information, you would 100% be like, oh, well, Michael did it then.
Right. So I just didn't like that.
Yeah, I did not either.
And then after closing arguments, Sonny was in Alexis's office.
Mm-hmm.
They actually had a really good conversation, though.
Yeah, he understood.
And
He said he's heard Diane say it enough times.
yeah. And so she straight up said, like, I had to point the finger at Michael to save Scout.
Right.
But then Sonny winds up saying he doesn't think that Willow is capable of shooting Drew.
Mm-hmm.
And then Alexis asks him, well, what if she did do it? And he said, well, even good people can do bad things.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I think the next time that we are in court, Trina and Kai went and confronted Alexis, asking if she didn't believe them.
Mm-hmm. And she was straight up with them. She was like, it's not that I don't believe you guys. Because Kai said, you could call the number. And she was like, I already did. I called the number and you're right. It goes to Wiley's phone. It's not that I don't believe you guys. It's that I have to give a fair defense no matter what. And they were like, well, you didn't have to say the stuff that you did. And she was like, I had to say what I was going to say as part of my closing arguments. But again, I feel like
not have to say, okay, hold it. Do defense attorneys have to say their client is innocent or not guilty in closing arguments? No, they don't necessarily have to say it. Their primary duty is to argue the evidence doesn't prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. She could have totally done that. Have you ever seen the musical Chicago?
No.
Oh, Billy Flynn is a defense attorney. And he tap dance. It actually is like in the musical, it's actually like a tap dance, but it's him spinning the entire thing. Like Alexis totally could have tap danced all over the place and like gotten her point across without actually saying those things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you need to watch Chicago. You can watch the movie too, but the movie's pretty good. It's Renee Zellweger, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Richard Gere plays Billy Flynn.
I've seen parts of it. My niece used to watch
mama.
it, but I have not sat and watched the whole thing.
Yeah, it's good. It's one of my favorite movie adaptations. Anyway, back to the show. Yeah, she really didn't. She could have gone all over the place with it and not actually said those words. If you're a defense attorney, I want you to write in and tell us, how often do you really say, especially if you know they're guilty?
Yeah.
Tell us not to say your name. Totally fine with doing that.
Right, because I would feel like as much as people are entitled to a good defense, that anyone that's in that courtroom saying anything, they should not be telling lies. Like when you get up on the stand, you have to swear to tell the whole truth. So even though Alexis wasn't up on the stand, she shouldn't be allowed to just flat out lie. Now, I understand no one asked her if she knew, so she didn't have to admit that she knew, but she shouldn't be able to make a false claim like that.
Yeah, because all they have to prove is not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right.
That is a really good point. How do we Google that? Is it perjury if an attorney says the client is innocent, but they know they are guilty? Yes, it is a serious ethical violation, suborning perjury for an attorney to knowingly tell the court that their client is innocent if the attorney knows that they are guilty. Lawyers can't lie or present false evidence, but they must still zealously defend, often by focusing on challenging the prosecution's case or arguing legal defense, not outright falsehoods. If a client plans to lie on the stands, the lawyer must take remedial measures, which can include trying to withdraw from the case or refusing to offer the false testimony. So,
all right.
But I guess she couldn't have called Willow back on the stand because they had already rested.
Yeah, I don't think she could have changed the case, but her closing argument, she did not need to say that.
Interesting. What an attorney can and can't do when a client is guilty. Can't allow the client to testify, I didn't do it, if they confessed guilt to the lawyer. So this might be where the loophole is.
Right, because Willow didn't tell her.
Right. They can't make outright false statements in opening and closing arguments. For example, my client wasn't there. See, that's They can argue the client's actions don't meet the legal definition of the crime, example, self-defense. They can challenge the prosecution's evidence, cross-examine witnesses, and highlight inconsistencies, and they can negotiate plea bargains or focus on procedural defenses.
Okay.
So I feel like this might be the sticky part is Willow did not tell her she was guilty.
Right.
Even though Alexis found out that she was.
That makes sense, I guess. I mean, I'm not surprised that she has a loophole.
Yep. But then even after everyone rested, Dante didn't look convinced that it was Willow. And he actually kind of looked uneasy when Alexis was mentioning Michael.
Yeah. I think that's why
he's Dante. Yeah.
Sorry, I think that's why he's looking at all of the evidence all over again, is because he is wondering if he blurred the lines with the Claudia Zacchara case, but at the same time, he doesn't want to just assume that Michael's not guilty if Michael is this time.
But that's the thing. He didn't blur the lines with the Claudia Zacchara case. His underage, but tried as an adult brother. Was he underage? We talked about this before. I wasn't watching then. Was he actually underage and tried as an adult?
Yeah.
He knew that he did it and it wasn't self-defense. He just assumed that would mean he would get a lesser sentence, and it was not.
Right.
But so he and Chase talked, and Chase insists that he did not cross any lines and would never destroy evidence. And I don't think Dante is fully convinced.
No, I think he'll need to look through the rest of the case and then hopefully start believing it, because that would be hard. I mean, that's what we've been saying all these weeks, is that Chase is just so dedicated to Willow. I would think that he was capable of that.
Well, he even went up to Alexis and thanked her for defending Willow, for knowing how she could never have done anything like that, and a whole bunch of crazy talk.
I know. I kept wondering if Alexis was going to end up caving and say something, even though she shouldn't, because she doesn't want to lose her license again. But every time that someone said, oh, because Willow couldn't be guilty, she made this face like, oh, it almost pained her.
Yeah.
Oh, and Drew saw Kai go up to Michael. That's not going to be good for Kai, because he wanted to apologize. He said, just because Drew's always been good to me, but just because he is saying those things doesn't mean that you deserve that. And it doesn't mean that it's true. And I just want to tell you that, I'm not believing what he's saying. And I doubt anyone else is either.
Yep. And I think that's all that happened before we finally got the phone call. Oh, no. Michael and Willow go and have coffee and talk about the kids, and he talks about how there are programs for incarcerated mothers to see their children, and he promises that she will be able to see the kids. And I'm sitting there going, did I miss something? Did I miss where, first of all, she's out right now but was found guilty?
Right.
But so she asks him, are you really only going to let me see the kids if I go to prison? And he was basically like, yeah, because of Drew.
Yep.
And so she asked, what happens if I don't go to prison? And he just looked at her. He saw her. I think that we're both right that he saw her.
Yeah.
And that he just hasn't wanted to say anything. But then they get the phone call, jury's back, and she was seriously found not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really mad about this.
Yeah, I am too. But again, the look on her face was like, wow, I don't know that I can accept that. I don't know that I can live with that. So I'm wondering if this isn't where the break comes in, like the break she had before, where she finally breaks down and says that she is the one that did it.
Oh, that could be true. That could be it. Yeah, so that's it. It was also the ending of Friday. So
yeah, I thought they weren't even
tomorrow or next week, not tomorrow.
I thought they weren't even going to give it to us. I thought they were going to close on, and the verdict is we find Willow, and then it was just going to stop.
Yep.
So I'm shocked that we even know that it was a not guilty.
That's true. That's actually a good point.
What if it's something crazy like she didn't finish her sentence and it's not guilty by reason of insanity or something like that, and they add to it?
Wouldn't she have had to have been claiming insanity?
I don't know. I think they can just say
Google is going to love us today. Sorry, guys.
I think they should be able to say Willow is just insane, but...
Well, no, because you have to have a doctor's verification of that.
I feel like I'm verified enough to say she is insane.
Can a jury find guilty by insanity without defendant claiming? Yes!
See? Boom!
In some jurisdictions, a jury can find the defendant guilty but mentally ill. But I don't feel like she presented anything close to being mentally ill.
Probably not, but it would just be a really fun twist.
It would be. Oh, what if someone is found not guilty, but it's discovered a juror was paid off,
Ah, okay.
can the defendant be retried?
I don't think so. Was it no?
No, because that still falls under that's not
Double.
right.
Yep.
Oh, that is so not right. I was hoping that that would be one of the loopholes because if they were bribed, then they weren't really. Oh, I know this. I know this because that's what happened in Karen Reed.
I mean, I feel like if I was pretty certain that you had to know it because you know even more murder stuff than
Well,
I do.
because there were three charges, and after the first one, it was just a mess. So basically, the judge did not read the results of the last two, and she was found not guilty. The only one that they were hung on was driving under the influence, but she was actually found not guilty and voted not guilty for the murder, for
Okay.
manslaughter. But that's what she was retried on. The whole thing is so corrupt. And I have not watched the Lifetime movie. I'm not going to. I've heard really bad things about it. So
Mhm.
other than the fact that they really accurately poorly cast the people who thought that they were going to have people like Sandra Bullock playing them.
Yeah.
And they do not look like Sandra Bullock. So they have heightened levels of self-worth there. I'm surprised no one's written into me about Karen Reed. I mention it quite often. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Mm.
Now that we're done
No,
with that.
we had the weird Lulu Nathan vibe again this week. Lulu had to take James to the hospital because they were ice skating and he skated faster than he was supposed to and hurt his head. So she
Yes.
took him to the hospital. First of all, she was like, I need to call your dad. I was waiting for her to say Spinelli. Like,
Right?
where was Spinelli for any of that? Like, do we have the legal papers that show? We just accept Nathan's his dad, even though he's been gone for all these years. Like, I feel like there should be more to that.
Yeah, why hasn't there had to be, especially where he was dead before James was born?
Right.
Okay, because we talked about why was it that Jason had to go to court and prove his undead and all that stuff, and why haven't Britt and Nathan? And I said that that was because like he was trying to get his Quartermaine shares back and everything. But
Hmm.
yeah, you would think that there would definitely have to be something in family court of, oh, by the way, I have a right to this child who has no idea who I am.
Right. And not that I want to see James struggling, but he's just like, this is my dad now.
He's got the Trina, she's
Right, right. They
Trina's
must,
talking to James and is like, listen, it's not that big of a deal. You just get a new dad one day and we forget about the other one.
right?
The one
Like,
who raised you, we forget about.
it's crazy. And
The good dad at that too. The good dad who raised
right,
you. We just forget about him.
right. So it was insane to me that we never heard anything from Spinelli. He didn't even show up. It wasn't like, oh, I had to drop off Georgie and Bailey Lou at the house. And then I was coming to the hospital. So Lulu just brought him or whatever. Nope.
Right.
Just Lulu's left there by herself. And then his dad shows up and she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I understand feeling guilt. I would obviously feel guilt if I had someone else's child out and they got hurt or whatever. But we also know things happen. It was an honest mistake. James was the one that didn't
Okay.
listen.
That's the thing though, is that, and please don't judge me too harshly on this, but like if I took Madeline ice skating and she fell and hit her head, of
Right.
course I would be so apologetic, but I would definitely not be thinking you were going to be mad at me because of
Right.
it. And she was acting like Nathan was going to bite her head off.
Right. And then he walked back into the exam room after they said parent or guardian. And he looked up and was like, are you
You
coming?
coming?
And right. And she like lit up and then walked back in there. And then she found lollipops for them to
She
have.
stole candy from babies.
Oh.
Those are not for you, Lulu. How about we don't go through the doctor drawers? Because now you just ruined the whole sanitary thing, too.
I agree. I agree. I'm sorry. But she did. She found some lollipops for them while they waited for James to come back from having his x-rays or whatever.
Now James doesn't get a lollipop. That'd be great if James came into the room and was like, can I have a lollipop? And then the doctor goes over and is like, nope, those were the last two, dude.
You're so mean. Why
He
don't we
should not just go into a doctor's drawer
Why don't we just wait and replay this scene on his birthday so he doesn't get one?
Exactly. Exactly. Maybe because
Oh
Nathan's
my
here,
God.
James will finally get a birthday.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. If this is the first year that we actually have a James birthday, I am going to go nuts. Like, give me a break. They were just holding out till his dad could come home before he got a birthday party. So yeah, didn't like the goo goo eyes there again. And then
Here's the thing though. So, and I appreciate the fact that Nathan said, this isn't the first time that I hear that this is not the first time that you have wound up in the hospital because you have not been listening. And the fact that you knew what you were doing
right.
and you lied about it, like that means that you knew better. So you have to have a consequence. No writing lessons with Cody for 3 weeks. Okay. But also I feel like it's also very important that even if he was not going to be using that as a consequence,
Right.
he should have had it as a result of, because they also, I mean, Isaiah took him to get an x-ray and
Right.
still you took a header, so it's going to have to be, you probably should not be doing a writing lesson for at least a week because we don't know if you hurt your head badly enough yet. And
But
so
they
like he
said
needs to learn that not only are you getting punished, but like there are actually consequences that come with not just punishment. Like it's the result is, well, you hurt yourself doing this, which you knew was reckless and you knew you shouldn't be doing. So now you can't do the fun things.
I agree with that, except for they said that he was fine and he wears a helmet. I'm assuming whenever he's horseback riding, since he wears gloves that
Still, boom,
Felicia
boom,
and
boom, boom,
him.
boom.
Thank you for
And what if
that.
he falls off? But then what if he falls off the horse?
But he would have the helmet. He should still be okay. If he had a concussion, then no, you can't go horseback riding. But they said he was fine.
I don't think I don't know. I don't think he'd be that fine.
They said he was fine. I can
Yeah.
only go off the medical information I have. They said he was fine.
That a
But
transplant surgeon gives you?
exactly.
Sorry.
But I mean, Marco was able to
I'm
make an
not saying that
appointment.
Isaiah can not identify if
Well, I was going to say, Marco was able to make a doctor appointment with a gynecologist. So why couldn't a heart or a transplant doctor be the one to treat him? But I found it offensive that Nathan made the call without talking to Spinelli or Felicia
yeah.
before he imposed that. I'm not saying there shouldn't be a consequence, but it should have been, I'm going to talk to Spinelli and your grandma about what type of consequence we think is appropriate for this. Not, I'm going to put the hammer down.
Well, and also they know what he responds to.
Right.
So like my kids had different consequences because my son hated being put in the corner. Like he hated it. And so guess what? That was his punishment. It was, he did not want to be put in the corner. And like, so I didn't have to do anything else.
Right.
My daughter, she would just stand there and be like, all right.
Yeah. Right, exactly. There's a running joke in our family because my one niece, the only thing that she cared about was reading. Like you could take away the TV, you could take away the iPod, you could take away the whatever. So whenever her stepdad first came into the family and tried to punish her for the first time, he was like, "Okay, go to your room, but you can't take your book." And everyone was like, "Are you really grounding her from reading?" And he was like, "I don't know what else to say that's going to matter. Like, normal kids, you send them to their room, they can't watch TV, they can't whatever, but she doesn't care about any of that stuff. It's the book that she's into." So
Exactly. Yeah.
and it's like a funny running joke. I'm going to ground you from reading if you don't if you don't behave.
So I mean, he picked horseback riding, but I still feel like even though they said he was fine, I still feel like there's a overlying health issue there, a health concern, or like a potential that, I don't know.
Potential,
Even if the doctor said he's fine, I would still take a week off for safety.
I can understand that, but no matter what, I feel like my bottom line is that it needed to be discussed with the real parents that have been there day in, day out for James's life, not this guy that just showed up
Not
a few
just
months
blood.
ago. Yeah, like that doesn't make you the dad.
Blood does not make you a parent. Well, it makes you a biological parent.
Right. But not in
It doesn't make you. Yeah.
yeah. So, and again, I don't even mean to disrespect Nathan. I just mean that he should have been respecting them more and it should have been an all-inclusive thing.
Well, especially they take care of him so much too, because that's the other thing. There's nothing better than when the other parent punishes and doesn't have to be the one to enforce it.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Yep.
So,
nope. Unless he's the one taking him, because I don't think I've seen Nathan take him to a single writing lesson.
No, we don't even know where Nathan's living right now.
With Liesel.
Is he?
I thought he was living with Liesel.
I don't know.
Because they kind of talked about that because because she doesn't want Britt living with her.
I don't know. She was all over Britt this week. She was loving all over Britt.
She was. But at the beginning, she didn't want Britt living with her. But it was like, but he can.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because I thought that Britt said something about, you said I couldn't live with you, but now Nathan can. Like, I don't know. I could be making all this up in my head.
I don't recall that, but you could be right. It may not have stuck with me. But we did see them bonding this week because Obrecht was like, hey, Rocco is going to play hockey. So I'm going to get us some jerseys and some foam fingers. And we're going to go to all the games. And Britt was like, okay, first of all, we're not trying to have the kid die of embarrassment. And also, Lulu's not going to be all for that. And that's when I wanted to like interject. But like, Lulu is busy taking care of other people's kids now. She doesn't care about her own.
Right. Yeah, she doesn't need her own son.
Oh, man. But then Britt talked about how, Lisa was talking about regret for the fact that she put Faison above her kids all the time. And Britt was saying, no, in my most time of need, when I didn't know I wasn't dying, you were the person who was there for me. And that was what was running through my mind and what I thought was my last moments. So that was sweet.
Yeah.
And then we saw not Obrecht with Anna giving her infusion, and Anna was totally out of it. She had tried to escape, and then she was not able to escape, and her condition is worsening.
We found out why Pascal is only talking in French to make her think that she has been taken out of the country.
Yes.
Why didn't we think about that? It's super.
Yeah,
makes sense.
It does. I didn't put it all together for that to have mattered. But then
she overtook Pascal at first.
Yes.
By passing out and saying that she needed blood transfusion. And then Jens was like, don't do anything.
Right.
And so I don't think that Pascal's the mastermind.
No.
Oh, well, that Cullum guy is. We have a new guy, Cullum.
Right.
The director of Cullum.
Director of the WSB that's there. So then we see Anna trying to recover from trying to escape, and obviously she needs a transfusion. So they send in a nurse that's supposed to look like Obrecht, and because she is so depleted and confused, she's like, Obrecht, why are you helping? Why are you doing this to me? And she just continued to play into her hand like, yeah, we're not friends. I have to help Faison. He's in charge. And
he said that she's like, I don't know who you are. And she said, yes, you do, Scarecrow.
Oh, okay.
And then that's when it clicked with Anna that she thinks that was so in Batman, Scarecrow makes people kind of like hallucinate. Huh?
We are full of random facts today.
Well, because he has people like hallucinate and see things that aren't there. So I'm like, okay, that was Anna's nickname from Liesel, but I also thought, how interesting is it that she actually did call her Scarecrow, and Anna's hallucinating that she's seeing Obrecht. So I'm like, oh, so did they also use some kind of like a hallucinogen to have her think that she was seeing Liesel? Because the lady said that she was talking like Liesel, but she would have also had to have been, I mean, she didn't had to have, but I just thought I went for the Batman Anna crossover.
Got it.
Even though it makes sense in my head, but Anna's nickname has been Scarecrow.
Yes.
So that was a long game if they ever played one.
Right. But then we see the nurse came out and she was like, says to Pascal, like, yep, she thought that it was me. And I think the treatment's working and everything. And then later on, we see Anna wake up and the cigar is sitting there smoking. So she absolutely is being convinced that Faison is alive. And then that voice comes over the speaker again that tells her to calm down.
Yep. So JD is away for a guy's weekend, and I took a picture of the cigar and Anna laying on the couch looking at the cigar, and he just sent back a picture of Faison. He knew exactly what it was.
Oh, man.
Gold star JD.
That's great.
But then before that, too, so Director Cullum, Brennan doesn't know anything about Anna. We were speculating that he did. He definitely does not.
No.
Because Director Cullum approached him and said something about how he wants to know if Brennan is having anyone watch Spoon Island. And he's like, yeah, I'm not telling you that because that's not how this goes. You know that, you're the director. And he says, oh, Brennan or Cullum says that they lost Anna. And Brennan's like, okay, well, let's find her. And he's like, no, no, no. What I'm saying is like, she's like, it seems like it was a choice. Like she chose to, there was no track of kidnap, like there's no trace that she was taken.
Right.
It seems like she decided to. And Brennan's like, she would never leave Emma.
Nope.
And Brennan told him to go look for Anna and that he'll keep an eye on Spoon Island, which you just told him then that you are watching Spoon Island.
Right.
But they had a talk about the brain in the jar too. Because even Cullum said something about, yeah, that's not really ever stopped him.
Right. Right.
Oh, because then in the meantime, for all that though, Valentin and Carly had been talking in the attic, and he told Carly to go look in Brennan's hotel room for stuff. And I know that we do not want them together, but they do have really good back and forth. Because she was like, so do you want me to go now? He's like, unless you want to keep staring at each other. And so then he's like, I'm going to go to Spoon Island. And she's like, are you crazy? He's like, no, I know how to go around that place. When he kind of like, it was like risky business. He kind of like slid into that doorway.
Right.
And I'm like, really, dude? And I wrote down, I was like, seriously, he forgot about the passageway? No, he didn't. He was going to look for the passageway. And then Ava walks in, and it turns out that she had it blocked off when she lived at Windermere.
Yep.
Because she thought it was kind of creepy that someone could just sneak into her house. Yep. Yay, Ava.
Right.
Yay, Ava.
Right. She should talk to the Quartermaines and tell them about these cool things called security cameras, and maybe they would have better luck then.
But so then Valentin kind of tells her that, oh, Sidwell knows that I'm here. He's the one who's been stashing me. And, you know, they just talks about how they go way back and like all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then as she's leaving, he's like, oh, give my love to Nina. And he's like, yeah, don't do that. So then Jens does come in, or no, Pascal comes in, and she tells him that she needs to talk to Jens about his house guest. And so, of course, I'm thinking, oh, shoot, they're going to assume that she's talking about Anna.
Right.
So Jens comes up and she basically straight up tells him fairly quickly that like she saw Valentin. And like, shoot, don't worry, I won't tell anyone that I saw Valentin. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, he'll have, did he say that he wasn't supposed to be there? Because he said that he was going to have his security do a sweep. And she said, so you're not going to tell the police? And he said something about no.
Right. Yeah. So I think he did say that he wasn't going to be there, but that he appreciated her honesty and the fact that she would have kept the secret had it been necessary.
Yep. And then still says, please do not tell anyone that you did see him.
Right.
So yay. But then Carly goes to Brennan's hotel room and starts going through everything, looking for evidence. And Valentin tells her, you know, seriously, like look under everything and like look for hidden trap doors and stuff. And she finds a packet, and then she hears Brennan and Britt coming in. And so she runs in the bathroom and puts on a robe, which I'm like, oh, good thinking. You know, you just act like you were there to surprise him. And Britt and Brennan are going back and forth about how, what were they arguing about? About like, she can't really be spying for him.
Well, she had already had that meeting with Marco because Marco had said he needed an appointment. And then he met with her and was like, hey, you need to move things along faster. And she said, I can't because you guys killed Dalton. And he was like, well, that's okay. We built a lab at Spoon Island that we can oversee you. So she was going to Brennan to say, like, how are you going to help me if the lab is in Spoon Island?
Right. And I can't just disappear again. All that stuff. That's right.
Yeah.
So then she leaves, and of course something falls in the bathroom, and Brennan grabs his gun and goes in and nearly shoots Carly.
Right. I felt like Carly was super smart because she wanted to listen to what was being said, but I wouldn't have been that smart. I would have turned on the water to make it seem like I didn't even realize that you guys were here so that he would know that I was there and not come in trying to shoot me.
But they also would have heard it. They would have heard the water. So they would have stopped talking when they realized that they weren't alone.
Well, I feel like either way, you wouldn't have heard it with the water running. So it would have stopped the conversation.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
She wanted to hear what they were saying. Okay.
Yeah. Carly was smarter than I was because I would have turned on the water so that he would know that I was there.
And then it would have. Okay. I'm like, no, she didn't, just so that they kept talking.
Right. But then she risked almost getting shot. if she would have turned on the
Yes.
water. I just felt
Yes.
like that would have pulled off the, oh, I was here to surprise you more if she was just getting out of the shower or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she also could have just put the like a shower cap on or something because she has a beautiful blowout. So, I mean, she
Yeah.
just, our hair doesn't have to be wet coming out of the shower. I did forget to mention the reason why Ava went to Spoon Island was to see Jen's, and they were discussing an artist, Patrice Restrepo, an up-and-coming artist from Colombia. And so I looked, and there is a Beatrice Restrepo, but she's a dancer. But then there's also a Beatrice Gonzalez from Colombia, who's a painter, sculptor, critic, curator, and art historian. However, she was 93 because she passed away on January 9th, 2026.
Oh,
Which means that if this is who they were referencing, this was filmed before she died.
right.
So, I mean, at 93, I don't know, you can start a new career at 93. I don't care. But saying that she's a new up and coming artist, I'm not sure if this is who, well, even her Wikipedia is saying that she started like in 1965 and stuff. But I think that's still, if that is who they were referencing, when I pulled that up, I was like, oh my gosh, she literally just died last week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep. Where to go? Well, you just want to keep going with Brit?
Yeah, so then Britt was at the hospital and Jason shows up and is like, "Hey, did you want to go out?" And she's like, "On like a date?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, I'm not sure what my schedule looks like." And she tries to play it all cool and stuff. And then they decide that they will go out on an actual date. And they end up, because there's only one place in the whole town to go, they end up at the axe throwing place that Carly and Joss are there having a girls' night. And Carly freaks out. And I felt like Jason was just being nice by even listening to her, because he was like, "Listen, I hate Brennan and you're still dating him. So I get to date Britt even though you don't like her. And that's just how it is." And then
Right.
Britt said to Joss, "You need to get your mom under control. She's annoying me." And Joss was like, "I can't do anything. That's my mom. And she's just talking." And she was like, "Well, I mean, I could tell her that you're a WSB agent. So you should probably get your mom to be quiet." And so then they ended up like swapping tables, and her and Joss were off to the side having more girl talk. And then Carly's like questioning Joss on how she knows the stuff that she knows, because Joss keeps saying, "Well, like that's a spy thing and that's a spy thing." And Carly's like, "How do you know all this?" And she blamed it on Vaughn and was like, "Yeah, he told me stuff I didn't realize was so secretive or whatever."
Yeah.
But I
Well,
didn't.
he said, no, I wrote this down. She said he didn't lie. It was the truth that was not his to share anymore.
There you go.
Which I feel like there is a fine line when it comes to stuff like that. Like you can't use that as an out for everything.
No.
But in his job,
Right.
he's an agent. It's like a police officer. They can't tell us, like, you were married to one. There were probably certain things he could not tell you.
Yep.
And he wasn't necessarily lying. It was just he could not share the truth with you.
Right.
I did like, though, how Carly was at least kind of saying, like, listen, Britt was getting better, but now she's going back to old Britt. So that's my concern.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't like it, but I
Right.
did like
It was a
it.
valid point. But I
Yeah.
wasn't really impressed with their date though. Like Britt just
Well, I
seemed,
was. He lost on
oh.
purpose.
Yeah, but she was so like giddy. I don't know. I just didn't know. I wasn't there for it.
Oh, I thought it was so cute that he lost on purpose and then he picked up the axe and he like got bullseye.
Yeah, no.
Come on, that was an 80s rom-com
I'm sorry.
move.
I just nope. And I also didn't understand the whole Emma and Geo thing. Like he shows up to deliver food and she's in a bikini and he's like, "What are you doing? It's freezing outside." And she's like, "Yeah, the heat is stuck at 80 some and so I'm too hot." I'm sorry. If my heat was stuck, I would not put on my bathing suit. I would open a window. I would put on some shorts. I think it would have made way more sense if she would have been trying to like recreate a beach scene. Like we had so much fun this summer. I'm trying to recreate this,
Right.
and turned the heat up and then it got stuck and then been like, "Oh crap.
Oh,
Now we
yeah.
need to call somebody to figure this out." Like, I'm going to be in big trouble for having it be so hot in the apartment, even though she's living there by herself right now. Something like that. Not I don't know. It just seemed weird to me. All of a sudden, she didn't turn it up that high. Just all of a
Like she
sudden, it was
wasn't in
stuck.
little shorts and a tank top with her hair pulled up.
Right.
Like that's what we would be. I would maybe not have the window open just because of how cold it is outside. And if she's up on a floor, like higher up, like that's bitter, bitter
Yeah,
cold. You're gonna get sick. And she's raised by doctors. I'm pretty sure she probably knows that one.
probably.
But yeah, like I would have definitely been shorts, tank top, hair in a messy bun on top,
Right.
having an ice pack on my neck or something.
Right. And I'm fine with them having their first time together because I think that they are young but responsible adults that have been doing this back and forth for a while and everything. They truly care about each other and all that stuff. But I also felt like that was unrealistic because I'm sorry, but my first time with somebody in an 87-degree apartment, no. Mm-mm. Like, no.
No.
I would be way too self-conscious and like, ew, this is sticky and gross. We're not doing this right now.
And then they talk the next morning about how Anna's been gone, about how Emma's basically like she's started off keeping everything the way that it was, but now she started to kind of, she's living there. She can't just leave everything the way that Anna left it, which brought me to thinking, now Anna's responsible, so she probably has everything on auto pay.
Right.
How did people that were kidnapped before auto pay their bills and not like lose their apartments and have their utilities shut off?
I don't know.
Right? Because Emma doesn't have money. So you know that she's not paying those bills. She's probably buying herself food and stuff, but
Right.
she's not. She's actually, how is she eating?
I don't know how you do it, but
Because
there has to be a way to do auto pay. There was just an article. This is like the weirdest thing that I happened to see, and now I'm not going to be able to find it. I know to show to you, but there was a apartment building that was being destroyed. Not like around here; it was in a different country. It was being destroyed, and so they were like going through it before they did their final whatever. And there was a dead body found like sitting in their armchair with the electricity still on and everything like still how it was whenever they died like years ago because they had everything on auto pay. Like years and years and years ago. Like I think before auto pay. So there
okay,
must be a way to do it.
okay,
I'm going to find the article and I'll send it to you because I'm not crazy. But so there must have been a way to do it. But I'm sure Anna does have everything on auto pay. Maybe she gave Emma a credit card for emergency use and Emma's using that to buy groceries.
okay, okay.
Or she did have a summer job if she's just feeding herself. It's only been what, like 6 weeks or so
It's
Anna's
been
been gone?
no, remember since Halloween.
Oh, yeah, okay. You're right. It has been a while. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What else? Oh, but we didn't finish the real quick with Jason and Britt that the what he lost was the bet was whoever lost owed the other a kiss at any time the person chooses to collect. But then even before that, when they were at the hospital a couple days before that, Brad was really sweetly begging him to stay away from Britt. I thought
Yep.
that he was, I think for especially for Brad, he pleaded, he's like, please don't hurt her because you always put everyone else before her. Like, just please don't hurt her again. And then Brad went to Liz and was like, you have to tell me that this is not a good idea. And she's like, I can't do that. They're going to do their thing. You need to be there for Britt. And even though it's probably going to end in disaster, you still have to be there for her. And then Liz had asked Jason earlier in the day, I think it was the same episode, that if Jason was upset with her because she was having compassion for Willow.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I would totally tell you if I was mad at you. I think the only thing that was left though was Tracy and Martin. We didn't really finish that because Martin goes to Laura and says that there's been another incident with Tracy and tells about how he overheard Michael talk or Tracy and Michael talking. And Laura's like, so of course you turned them in. He's like, yep, I did. And so then Laura called Tracy and asked her to come. And that's where Tracy left. And Brooklyn told Chase that like she just doesn't trust Willow. And so Martin was at Laura's office and Tracy felt like she was kind of sabotaged. And so Laura was like, fine, I need you to move forward with the charges against my brother because that's what you want to do. Go ahead and do it. And she's like, well, I can't do that because then they're going to press the charges against Ronnie and then my family's going to hate me and all this. And so Laura just begs them to both have a truce, says that, she shares so much with Tracy. They share Lulu and Luke and Ace and Kevin are gone and she can't lose Tracy too. And Tracy agreed, but told Martin if he ever goes for her family again, that she will go at him so fiercely, her deep love for Laura won't stop her.
Yes.
And Laura told him, yeah, if you do something again, I will not be helping you.
Yeah. I loved that Laura knew that that's exactly how Tracy was. She was like, "Well, let's call her out then. The only way to address her is face to face," and that was how it happened.
Yep. I think that was it. Can you think of anything else?
No, I can't think of anything else. That was, I mean, we covered a lot.
We Googled a lot.
Reality check.
So how was your week?
It was boring because I still don't have my car back, so I wasn't really going anywhere.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
What the heck?
They said that whenever they put the new smaller battery in, that it like threw all these extra codes and stuff. And so they the piece, like whatever the piece is that's messed up is what charges the smaller battery. And so they need to order that, and it is on back order. And there is a local Hyundai dealer that has been looking for that same part, and it's been over a month now. So who knows when mine will be in. So they finally gave us a loaner car today. We went and picked it up.
Oh, good.
So
That's just crazy.
it is. It's insane. And it has me so annoyed because I'm like, come on.
Yeah, especially if it's just going to be something super easy too.
Right. Like, how long is it going to take you to put this part in? Probably not that long. It's the fact that this dumb piece is on back order. So, but at least I have a loaner. So that's
Well,
fine.
what's that also telling them if it's on back order? It means it's needed.
Right. Exactly.
So why is there not a recall going out?
Very true. But
I'm going to add that to my predictions for the year. Amanda's car is going to have a
they had one
recall.
before, but I don't know that it was on that part, and mine wasn't part of it. So
Gotcha.
I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I did not do luckily I had my ex's car to run Madeline around to her normal stuff because he was away on business for the week. So she still made it to all of her activities. But other than that, it was a nice excuse actually to just be like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable driving his car for no reason. So I'm just gonna stay home. So that was all that I did really.
Between that and the cold, that's
Right.
always nice.
Exactly. And that's how you know we're old, because
Yep.
25 years ago would have been out in mini skirts and no jackets, still going to wherever.
Exactly. Ugh, I am so tired. That's my reality check. I'm so tired.
Yeah, I'm going to make fun of you. At least I'm not yawning my head off at 10 o'clock at night. So.
And it's been since like 7:30.
Oh, jeez.
Like it just hit me. I'm in my pajamas already. When we finish up here, I'm going straight to bed.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's just my daughter finished her second full week of work. You know, we're still learning the new routine, adapting my work to it. So that's just, I mean, it's just, you just have to switch gears. You know, you just have to switch around everything that you've been doing for the past however many years. But she actually had a meeting with Sweeted Film is a very low budget or like no budget film. And the organization that she did her film camp with reached out. I kind of actually forgot about it until they sent the reminder. It was on my calendar, so I didn't really forget about it. I just mentally forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
She went to it and they're going to do The Wizard of Oz. They have not done casting yet. I am hopeful.
Yes.
Because she would totally look like her.
Right.
But she's going to do props and costumes.
Oh,
nice. But she is going to act a little bit in it too. So that was nice that we were able to do that.
You always liked that organization, so I'm glad that they're getting together to do something.
Yeah. Well, that's the one that she does her social group through and her job coaching and everything. So like we're still connected to them, but they just don't have the film camp anymore.
Right.
And next week she starts something fun too. But that'll be next week's reality check, not this week's. There's your cliffhanger, guys.
There you go.
And so join us on Thursday to hear what we still don't know about whatever we talk about with Rena Sofer.
It'll be so good.
It will be.
Have a good week.
And we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to pier54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review. And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Pier 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at pier54podcast@gmail.com.